All right, hey all, wanted to just jump in and do a quick video, give an update since we've had some price movement, in this case to the upside. I had set up several trades for you over the last week or so, and some of those are entering into the market. Obviously, I've had a pretty big jump in portfolio value, deployed additional cash like I said I would once we had Bitcoin and Ethereum hit our entry points, and I want to cover as well Solana and Chainlink. So certainly the last 24 hours have been great. We shall see. These are the type of things where when I take these type of trades, I do not expect to be right every single time. In fact, I expect to be wrong a third of the time for sure. So I like to set the expectations that on this active trading, this isn't something where every time I step up to the plate, I know that the trade, if it triggers, it's going to be a winner. It takes time for it to become a winner based upon the trailing stops. So it's a good first start, and it's good to see this action. But we've been in a pretty extensive downtrend, right, for a little bit here. So yeah, perspective is that looks great when we look at it close up. When we look at it from the free fall since November, hard to say. It could just be a technical reaction. Bitcoin, I did enter 41,515. Like I said, any break above that I was entering. I did buy some additional Bitcoin. Right now we're at about 43.8. So one question is, where do I get out? Okay, I'm using the parabolic stop to trail. As of right now, this would be my stop area. Now, I don't place a stop inside any of my brokerage platforms. I'll just get an alert. If this tends to fall down to this level, I will just go and I will look to exit my active trading position. Again, I have to remind you, if you haven't watched the previous videos, this is only the active trading portion of the portfolio. Most of everything I have, I'm sticking with it and buying, and I'm just dollar cost averaging in as we go, including throughout this entire move to the downside. However, I do have a portion, like I mentioned, about 35-40%, where I'll actively get in and get out based upon these setups. You'll have to watch some of the prior videos in YouTube over the last week or two where I took you through a bit how the strategy works and what I'm looking for. But again, I just want to emphasize always, if this trade works, that's fantastic. If it doesn't, it's not anything to do with my system. I'm going to continue stepping up to the plate and continue to take swings because it's worked for me over time. So right now, that's where I'm going to have my stop. Now, normally my stops, I place 3 parabolic stops back, okay, which would be here. But because this is like stretched pretty quickly, normally these take a little longer to get to this oversold or overbought level on the Keltner channel. I'm not going to go through because I know unless it free falls today, by the time this starts to move down, this will end up being, right, 3 parabolics back in like 3 days. So could be wrong, could be a mistake on that. But for right now, that's where I've got my stop in place. Obviously, if I went 3 back, it would be 33.6. Call it what it is at this point. I was just trying to reduce a little bit of the risk on the trade. Because if I'm wrong, I tend to be wrong by about like 10% to 20 to 25% is the kind of losses I'm going to take on these trades. If it's just a straight, just does not cooperate at all. There are other ones when I showed you the results previously, last video, where sometimes it's a small loss because I'm being able to trail the stop up. This is a daily chart, so I'm not going to be able to do much every 24 hours. And that's the nice thing about it. It's just going to be slow paced. Let's go ahead and look at Ethereum because I also entered Ethereum because it also went through the buy point that I gave, which was 3017, which was somewhere around here, over in this way on this big spike bar up. So we're up to 3133. All right, in this case, 3 bar back, parabolic, 2224. That's where I'll place an alert. I could, of course, place it at 2332. I think that'd be perfectly safe, but I'm just going to stick to, in this case, because it's not a huge difference having it there. But I think it's a non-issue. I'm going to wait a couple days, and then we're going to be updating this stop. So again, I typically like I mentioned, 3 parabolics back as my trailing stop. Okay, so obviously, if you're in on this trade, you can do whatever you want. That's what I'm doing on this trade. The other thing I should mention is I have found sometimes when I want a straight, just pure trade for profit, when I get to this Keltner channel, when I get to this overbought level, sometimes I will take some profit here. Now, I'm not doing that in this case. I'm telling you what I'm doing. But it's a pretty nice run, about $2,500 run here in the course of a couple days. So there have been times in the past where I've said, you know what, I'm going to take part of my position off when this happens and just trail the rest. Now, that doesn't mean half. It doesn't mean any specific percentage. It's just sometimes a feel. And I know that's hard because it's not a mechanical rule, but it's just a feel. So I would say, right, if you're in on this trade, it's making you nervous already, take some off. At least you can book a profit here. You'd reduce your risk down, but trail the rest because the only way you can really make gains, significant gains, in this type of approach is to trail and to let the bigger moves happen. If we don't catch the 40, 50, 100% moves, it's not really going to be what we're looking for. All right, Solana 131.55. I still have work to do. I wasn't really able to update my stop very much on this based upon this price action, but it still hasn't triggered in. So I'm still on the sidelines. I'm waiting. Chainlink was the other one that I gave you a setup on that I'm looking to enter. I was able to adjust the entry a little bit. In fact, I actually should bring this down for you. So let me go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, actually, I did notice I actually did bring it down from the last, so 21 is it. I'm a little pickier on the digital assets outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I need more confirmation, okay, because I expect them to be more volatile. So Chainlink, and Solana, it needs to be more upside. That's partly why we haven't gone in yet. If I had used my normal criteria, maybe my entry would be back down around 20, but still it would not be in. Okay, so this typically happens where you have Bitcoin in particular and Ethereum lead, and then you get everything to start to follow. We'll see. If that happens, that'll be a great sign. But we're looking for the leadership first, and then people start to gain confidence, right, on everything else. And we're seeing it in some cases, right? If you go to CoinMarketCap, you can see the 24-hour moves, the 7-day moves, but a lot of that is heavy right at the top. I'm not going to say you're not going to find names down here that have moved more. Shiba Inu, 47%, but I don't trade that. But most of the other ones are a little bit less than what we're seeing from Ethereum and Bitcoin, with an exception like XRP, Ripple, but that's pretty typical. So I would start to expect these normally will be larger once you're really getting into that more bullish cycle. So a lot to go, a lot to still be proven, but I want to at least update you on, yes, we're in on 2 of the 4. I've got some stops that I'm watching on the chart. They're not in at my broker. I will exit out if the trade breaks and it doesn't work, and I'll just look for the next setup. All right, so if you have any questions on any of that, I know I made this pretty quick. Put the questions down below. I'll be happy to answer those here in YouTube. And I think I mentioned in the last video, if there are other digital assets that you would like me to take a look at in a chart, I can go ahead and do that, show you where I would consider getting in, what would work for me, as well as where I would consider getting out. And I also mentioned, let's stick to some of the assets that are out there. We don't want to go down to number 437 on CoinMarketCap because it's just not going to trade technically. It's going to be all news and volume driven. So we need things that trade a bit more on the technical side as well as, of course, the news side. All right, so anyway, good luck. We'll see how this plays out. Hopefully in the next few days, I can come back on and I can give you some updates with some better trailing stops. That's fingers crossed. That's what we're hoping for. So with that, take care, everybody.